PG.
It sounds like Girls Try Better.
It only took us 2 hours. Only 2 hours. Cheers. All right. In October of 2021, we visited the Whaley House, known as the most haunted places in America, according to the Travel Channel. I have permission to use that name. We've heard about the Whaley House a lot, and we were really excited when we were going to San Diego to see some family that we hadn't seen in a long time because of the COVIDs. Yeah. And we were like, well, while we're down there, maybe two drunk ghouls can do a little bit of a jaunt over to Old Town San Diego. To the Whaley House. And we did it. We fucking did it. Quick history. So the thing that they attribute all of the bad history, the bad vibes that I do. This is like the ghost that will hurt you. Like, you see this guy, he's not nice. Bad ghost. Yankee Jim, and he was the most famous public execution in San Diego at that point. Right there on the property. And old Thomas Whaley, he was there, and he was like, I'm gonna build a house there. Yeah, he decided, that's good roots. I think I want a house there. That's where I want to live. 1855, Thomas bought the land and decided he was gonna build a house for his family. And immediately, calamity. I need to do. Oh no! The first calamity that happens. Thomas Whaley Jr. dies of scarlet fever or some kind of illness. That's awful. 18 months. 18 months old. That's sad. It's very sad. And then their house catches on fire. Yeah. And they were like, okay, we're out. We're going to San Francisco. He's like, you know what? Cutting ties with San Diego. Gonna try San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Well, that doesn't really work out for him either. No, and my beer is hot. And that's sad. That is sad. Doesn't work out for you either. I'm gonna drink it anyway. No, they moved to San Francisco. What happens in San Francisco? They get hit with like the biggest earthquake of the 1800s. And it crashes their store. And once again, they're financially ruined. It takes down their house and everything. And they're like, I guess we'll just go back to Old Town San Diego. Mm-hmm. Things are going great there. We should go back. So they decide that when they get the new house, because he needed a lot of money. Oh yeah, he was like strapped for cash. Okay, this is a general store. This can now be the courthouse. And you know what? Throw a theater in there on the second story. I heard it can hold hundreds. And I don't know if I showed you this picture, but he also made sure that his property had a liquor license. So I don't know if that was to sell liquor at the general store or to be a bar. So the reason we were in San Diego was to visit our family, aunt, uncle, cousins in San Diego. When we were going, I was like, the Whaley House is in San Diego. Oh, Kathleen knew what we were talking about. I'll drive you out there. Okay. And then what a team player. And then another team player is Mom, because whenever she's like, y'all are doing something fun, I'm there. The rest of the family is lame. Aunt Kathleen drives us out to Old Town San Diego, which was really cool. We get there and we are, we're late. Greek time. Excuse me. We show up as they're like, Kennedy? They're like, it's us. And we're like the very last ones in the line, and I can barely hear this lady in period dress. Erin and I are pulling up our ghost hunting apps. So we pull the apps up, and the lady is telling a story about the very first death in the Whaley death in the house. It was Thomas Jr. Baby Thomas. Yeah. And Katrina's app immediately says, my child. We are barely hearing what she's saying. So I didn't even realize that she was talking about, a baby who had died. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'm like, shit is popping off, guys. Immediately. So that happened. And they're like, okay, let's go into the courtroom. Yeah. So we walk in, of course, again, we were late, so we didn't get a seat. We're standing in the back. I was having like like weird feelings in my chest and was like having a hard time breathing and kind of felt dizzy. And I thought, I mean, I'm not that drunk yet. Like we
had not been drinking for at least an hour.
Like we chugged as much as we could before we left, obviously.
Right. And I was like, suck it up, we're here.
And she was like, we're not leaving. So we continued. So from there we go to the dining room. And in the dining room, the legend has it that women specifically have a lot of experiences in the dining room because they apparently had another child who was older die.
Like a 3-4-year-old.
So like a lot of the stories of the space is that women feel like a lot of tugging and pulling, something that a kid would do. And so we were like so excited that this was probably like the most active room. Nothing happened for us. So I was like, whatever, let's take a selfie. So we turned to this like weird mirror that was behind us, and we took a selfie because I wanted to see the dining room. So from there we went to the stairs?
From there we went upstairs. So we went up the stairs. As we're going up, my mom's butt gets pinched.
She was like, somebody pinched my butt. We're like, what? We're like getting our abs, and
we're
I'm
like, who did it?
I was like, hold on, let me get the phone. Wait, by the way, that was literally what we were doing the whole time. Yes. I was like, I'm going to review all these pictures later. I want to see all these videos.
We're going to see orbs.
Because I'm going to see apparitions. I'm going to see orb, damn it.
We're going to see light flares. It's dead of the night.
There's going to be somebody behind me.
Ooh. We get up to the top of the stairs and there's like a couple bedrooms that are kind of creepy. They got dolls in there. And then we go into this room that is literally the size of a cardboard box. And that's the theater. It has a stage.
A theater.
In the top room. And
essentially, it was this room.
And they told us this theater supposedly hosted hundreds of people.
No way.
I was like, that's bullshit.
If 20 people was in this room right now,
there'd be a lot of freaking people.
Can you imagine 100 people in this room?
But so we go to this theater and she's telling us the story about how they put on, like Shakespeare and stuff. And these actors, they were a little bit too fond of touching people when people were not expecting it.
Which is why we thought when the butt got pinched,
we were like, it's these actors. It's the ghosts. Apparently a lot of women, when they're in this theater, they have this feeling of like being touched on their legs or like being groped, all this kind of stuff. That sounds terrible. I get enough sexual harassment from the living. Thank you.
I don't need the dead people to do it too.
What the tour guide starts talking about during this is Whaley. And she has an interesting story where she married some guy from the town. He turned out to be a deadbeat, as you do. As you do.
He's a dick.
She had to go back to her parents' house. Mm-hmm. And she was super embarrassed about it because, in the 1800s,
you didn't just leave your husband or get divorced.
The town was super mean to her.
It's hard to be a woman back then
and now.
Literally,
I would only want to go back in time if I got to be a man.
Same.
She's also only 23. Her brain is not fully matured yet. Apparently that doesn't happen until you're 25. I found this out and it's a legit.
What?
Even for women, your brain is not fully developed until you're 25. And I was like, you know what? That checks out. She finally decides that she has had enough. So the tour guide is telling us that Whaley wakes up at some point in time in 1885. I
don't know. I can't fact check that number.
I don't know. Right, she gets up and she goes outside. So this is what the tour guide is saying. And I have my app, right? My app is rolling. And
no. We are experiencing some technical difficulties.
The tour guide is telling us Whaley wakes up and goes outside one morning. Mm-hmm. And so then my app says yard. And then the tour guide says, this is around 6:30 a.m. My app says 7. She talks about Violet going out near the outhouse. She takes her father's pistol. She shoots herself. It's very sad. The commotion wakes up Thomas and he goes out and he finds his daughter. And he takes her into the sitting room and lays her on a settee.
And basically, as she's telling the story, the app is just correcting her.
We go down to the room with the settee.
The settee.
And
in the sitting room.
And Thomas went out and he picked Violet up and he brought her into the sitting room and he laid her upon the settee. She's on the settee. I have my phone like this and I feel like somebody tug on me and I'm standing next to all my family, so I figure like, oh, they're trying to get my attention. We're wearing masks. And so I look at my aunt and I look at Erin and I'm like, what?
We're all just like,
we're like, what? And so I go back to looking at my app and like, oh, it still hasn't changed. And I feel it again. Somebody's yanking on my arm.
Like what? Like a... Well,
so like I have my arms kind of crossed like this or something. And it's like somebody grabs this part and they're like, and I mean, like it's legitimately, I thought it was a person. And then it happens again. I was like, oh, they want my attention. And I'm like, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Be like, what do you want to tell me? What's going on? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Then we go outside in the courtyard where Violet shot herself. And my app, it starts popping off again.
Shit's popping off.
It's popping off. And then I get weapon.
And
then I get I am sorry. And we were walking around. My phone said Anna.
I was like, what? She was like, oh my gosh.
What does it say? Like Anna Whaley.
The tour ends. They tell us to donate to the Whaley House, which you should do because it's a historic site. Yeah. After that, the tour wraps up and we're able to talk amongst ourselves. And I'm looking at them and I was like, what were you trying to tell me back then when you were yanking on my arm? And they were all like, what? I was like, back in the parlor with the settee when they were talking about all this, you guys yanked on my arm or somebody yanked on my arm. And they said, no, nobody touched you. And I was like, y'all are fucking with me.
I was nowhere near her.
My aunt was like, I swear to God, I did not touch you.
No. I swear to God.
So
I swear to God.
I kept looking back at you?
I guess.
Okay, well, I kept looking at you, and then you kept you kept looking around, and I thought you were trying to tell me something, and I turned away, and then you grabbed me.
Because you looked in, like, you're listening to the room, right?
This is before that.
Oh, no. I swear to
Dude.
God.
Dude.
And I was like, you're fucking with me. You guys are all fucking with me. It was definitely a human person. Y'all were the only people around me. And y'all were like, we were wondering why you kept looking at us.
You were trying to,
No.
it was so hard. I thought you were trying to get my attention. It seriously felt like somebody was doing that.
When in the dining room when they said like
With
the
the
little
settee.
girl?
No, it was
Oh.
when Violet died. When we were standing in front of the settee. I was sitting there and that's why I kept looking at
I
you.
swear to God. I
Oh
never
my God,
touched you.
that's so weird.
I never got touched or nothing.
I didn't either. Kind of disappointed.
Well, you did, but it was me.
Erin was jealous.
I was so jealous because I was like, nothing happened to me. Like, I didn't see anything. I took all the pictures. I didn't see shit. She got tugged on. That's some bullshit. When we leave, we were pretty much sober.
We were like, not on our watch. We got some margaritas. We told the story of
at
me being
least 7
tugged
times.
at least 7 times.
You
And
told it to a stranger on the street?
I did. I told it to our waiter, and I was like,
Oh,
"Did you know it?"
you did
I
tell it
was
to the
like, "Did you
waiter?"
know a ghost touched me?"
I did the one time.
Was it like a tug?
No, it was so hold like this. So it was like, and I looked over at her.
No
and I was,
way.
and she was like,
because I goofed on
Yeah.
I thought, I'm just like,
Yeah.
and then I looked away, and it happened again.
Again.
And I looked over, and I was like, oh, it's crazy.
Oh. That's so bad.
And then we go back to the hotel.
So we
To
watched
rewatch Ryan and Shane.
Ryan and Shane
At the Whaley
at
House.
the Whaley House. We watched it, and Ryan had the same like dizzy, short of breath
Heart
feelings.
palpitation kind
And I
of
was
thing.
like, that's exactly what I felt like. Like, oh my gosh, I felt that too. I felt it also. So I'm going through all the pictures because I think I'm going to find an orb. I'm going to see something. I'm going to see a shadow. And then I started going through my screenshots from the app. We were in the sitting room. I got a message that said, look in mirror window or something like that. When we got the message when we were in the sitting room,
We were like, "What?"
we looked through all the windows. For whatever reason, I thought, I'm going to go back and look at the picture that we took, a selfie in the dining room, a mirror selfie. I was like, that's kind of weird. And I like zoomed in, and there was what looked like a picture of a person in between us. And it was so weird because it wasn't in the mirror, it was in the picture of the mirror, and there was someone in between us, kind of like,
you think about it, in the 1800s, what would an iPhone look to you?
like a window or a mirror. Yeah. And then I compared it to Anna Whaley, and it looked like Anna Whaley. So you could see really pale face, really dark eyes, and it had
The
like
collar.
it had the collar, like the white collar, like the period clothing. And I was like, Katrina, in a pose, in a picture with her.
She was in her selfie.
She was in her selfie.
But that's our experience at the Whaley House.
Yeah, San Diego.
Well, until then, I'm Katrina.
And I'm Erin.
And we are
2DG.